everyone. I'm Sheila Gray from Local 12. Good morning, Cincinnati. I'm honored to be part of this first ever Red Cross fundraiser in our region. There's never been a more important time to recognize our outstanding frontline heroes. To learn more about the role of public health in keeping us safe, and also to appreciate all of the ways the American Red Cross, despite the challenges of COVID-19, continues to provide critical services when we need them most. While so much of the world has turned on its head, hearing today's stories brings me so much hope that no matter the circumstances, we are surrounded by greatness and selflessness, care and compassion. I'm excited to share today's stories of our frontline heroes with you, and I know you'll be inspired by them as I am. But first, I want to thank each and every one of you for logging in today. The silver lining of holding a virtual event is that we're able to extend the invitation far and wide, and you can wear whatever you want. Even now, as we're just getting started, you can still share this link with your family and friends. It's not too late for them to join too. And we invite you to share your love for the Red Cross inside and beyond our tri-state area. Today, we will spotlight 7 stories of calm and courage during a worldwide pandemic striking our community. These stories illustrate the best of human kindness. We will also hear from Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley, and we're sharing with us the role of public health, Cincinnati Health Commissioner Dr. Melba Moore, our special guests today. While honoring the selfless actions of our frontline heroes, you will have the opportunity to support the life-saving mission of the American Red Cross. Despite a pandemic, there are devastating home fires. There are military families needing Red Cross assistance to make emergency connections with their service members. There are people requiring training in first aid and water safety, often for a job. Red Cross services are essential every day. We hope you will consider making a gift during our program. To the left of your screen, you will see donation options. Now, those options will be available throughout the remainder of the program. If you're viewing from a mobile device, you will need to exit full screen and scroll below the video window to make a donation. You can also text Frontline Heroes, all one word, Frontline Heroes to 76278. Or use your smart device camera with the QR code at the bottom of your screen. Again, text the word Frontline Heroes to 76278. Follow the prompts to be sure the American Red Cross has the resources to support our tri-state area in times of need. Before we begin recognizing our honorees, I would like to welcome our special guests. Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley has opening remarks today, followed by the CEO of the Central and Southern Region of the American Red Cross, Stephanie Bird.
Hi, I'm John Cranley, Mayor of Cincinnati. It is my honor to recognize the American Red Cross, all the work that it has done, as well as so many others on the front line throughout this COVID year, pandemic year. It has been a difficult and challenging time for all of us, first and foremost, because many of us lost loved ones. I know my best friend lost both of his parents. And so that sort of tragedy is immeasurable. But there have been sufferings in many other ways too, whether it's mental health, fear, going to work, having to be on the front lines, not having the luxury of a remote job, and worried about putting one's loved ones at risk. Our first responders, though, have really stepped up and have done their jobs to feed us, to take care of us, to nurse us, to take us to the hospital when we need so. And so I want to thank the first responders like the Cincinnati Fire Department, Chief Roy Winston, and all of our firefighters who never stopped working. Our school transportation providers, First Student Ken Jones, and all of his folks who are out there on buses every day. Our healthcare community, Maple Knolls community, Carla Alfrey, a nurse, and Aaron Steckman, an infection specialist, who have been recognized for their leadership throughout. UC Health for its never-ending work. Rick Lofgren's become a close friend and has really helped lead our entire community and coordinate the other hospitals together. They really have put competition aside and have worked for the greater good. Of course, our great headquarter company, Kroger, and its many employees who never stopped working to make sure we could get food for our families. They were truly on the front line the whole time. And I am excited that Jennifer Tudor is being acknowledged and honored for her leadership. And then I want to give a special shout out to Diana Morgan, a volunteer with the Red Cross who has done so much this year, and know that the city very much appreciates her efforts. Of course, in addition to these, all of us as citizens have done our part by wearing masks, socially distancing, physically distancing, and doing our best to role model behavior throughout this difficult year. And think about reaching out to someone you know who suffered, whose family members have died throughout this year. Consider doing that even to this day. And I want to give a special shout out to the American Red Cross for always being there for us in tough times. And this past year has been no different. So thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you, Mayor Cranley. When you think of the American Red Cross, chances are your thoughts turn to our volunteers wearing their signature Red Cross vests, helping people who've been displaced by large-scale national disasters. You think of the devastation brought on by major hurricanes or ravaging wildfires. But up close, losing everything looks the same. By that I mean whether you lost your home due to a kitchen fire in East Price Hill or because of a hurricane in Houston, the results are the same. The devastation is the same. The heartache, the same. And equally, the Red Cross assistance is the same. That's why I want to talk to you about what the Red Cross does for you here in the Greater Cincinnati Tri-State Chapter. Home fires are a problem in our area. We respond to approximately 500 single and multifamily home fires per year in this chapter. In that response, we focus on providing safe temporary emergency shelter, food, emergency relief supplies, emotional and mental health supports, health services, and recovery assistance. We teach preparedness as well, helping you to craft your own home fire escape plan and encouraging you to practice your 2-minute escape drill. With the help of our partners, installing free smoke alarms in your home. On our website, redcross.org/Cincinnati, you can sign up for free virtual preparedness classes, a variety of different classes which help businesses, families, or children know what to do in the case of an emergency. I'm proud that in fiscal year 2020, over 1,500 children in our Cincinnati area were provided with potentially life-saving preparedness instruction. Health and safety training classes are offered to provide life-saving skills such as CPR and AED, water safety classes for lifeguard, babysitting classes for teens. This past fiscal year in the Cincinnati area, over 17,600 people enrolled in these classes. Caring for our military harkens back to the days of our founder, Clara Barton, and the compassionate care she offered on the battlefields of the Civil War. Today, the Red Cross helps our veterans, members of the military, and their families prepare for, cope with, and respond to the challenges of military service. In Cincinnati, we supported 1,600 service of the armed forces cases last year. The collection, processing, and distribution of blood products is a signature effort of the Red Cross. We host blood collections every week here in our Cincinnati chapter office from where I'm currently speaking to you, as well as host other blood drives around the area. So you see, we are in Cincinnati, in the tri-state every day, helping your neighbors, helping you. Something I'm incredibly proud of is that during this pandemic, like our honorees here today, the Red Cross did not skip a beat in delivering our mission. Sure, our service delivery may have looked different, but the same service was provided. Let's look at how the American Red Cross has worked during this difficult year. The video says a lot about the Red Cross being where it needed to be, though different when needed over this last year. I've talked about how the mission of the American Red Cross presents itself here in our area every day. Let me tell you a little bit about how the Greater Cincinnati Tri-State chapter sets itself apart. We are a chapter of innovation. We were among the first in the nation to start a diversity and inclusion committee here in our Cincinnati chapter, which dates back almost 3 decades. In 2019, a partnership with the Cincinnati Recreation Commission and Jack and Jill, more than 2,000 children were provided free swim lessons. And what we know of as Sound the Alarm, the program where we install free smoke alarms here in homes, started here in our chapter. The program was embraced nationally in 2018, and since then, 2.1 million free smoke alarms have been installed in homes around the country. I am proud to tell the donors and potential donors looking to invest in this good work that 90 cents of every dollar we spend goes directly to meeting the needs of our clients. We're not funded by national or local governments. We are funded by generous organizations and individuals like yourselves. We truly are your American Red Cross. As we emerge from the pandemic, the Tri-State chapter is ready to grow its programs and services. This is our first fundraising event in the chapter for many years. What better way to start than with a celebration of Frontline heroes? These heroes share with the Red Cross a commitment to helping those in need. Their stories are compelling, and their achievements inspire us. I thank our dedicated board, our staff and volunteers, and the sponsors who have made this event possible. And I especially thank the donors, friends, and viewers who support our Red Cross.
Thank you, Mayor John Cranley, for your leadership and kind words today. And thank you, Stephanie, for providing us insights to the impact the American Red Cross makes on our communities and the invaluable role the Red Cross plays when disaster strikes. So many kind hearts are involved. I'm amazed how quickly expertise, hard work, volunteerism, and of course, monetary donations come together to enable response and empower recovery anywhere in our country. And I just learned this important fact. You may have heard Stephanie mention it. The Red Cross does not receive any financial support from the government. Let me say that again. The Red Cross does not receive any financial support from the government, which makes your dollars even more critical. After what you've just heard, now would be a meaningful time to make your contribution. Just look to the left of your screen and follow the donation options. They will be active and welcoming gifts through the remainder of the program today. Now let's get to those hero stories. To introduce our first responder heroes, please welcome our essential workers sponsor, Ohio National Financial.
The individuals we are honoring today, while they may not be comfortable being called one, fit the description of a hero. The dictionary defines hero as a person of distinguished courage or ability, admired for his or her brave deeds and noble qualities. I am excited to share their stories with you. On behalf of Ohio National, I am truly honored to be introducing Chief Roy Winston and the Cincinnati Fire Department as our first responder honorees. Thank you for all that you do, and congratulations.
I was about 17 years old, and my father was, having those chats that like fathers do when I was a senior in high school, and it was, what are you going to do after high school? And the rest you say is history. And we have 6 different divisions that I oversee. A lot of times the public sees the operations. Those are, your fire trucks, your ambulances racing around the city streets or what have you. But there's 5 other divisions that really support what our people on the street do. And so my job is to make sure overall that our members have what they need in order to do the job, but at the same time that we're meeting the needs and the expectations of the community.
My brother has always told me that I have too much compassion, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it's really neat to be able to get paid to be a good neighbor to people and, be there in their time of need, whether it's something super serious or super benign, be a calming presence for them.
My best day, if you will, is when I'm out in the community and they're telling me, providing good instances, good examples of interactions that they've had with the fire department, and their appreciation when the community expresses their appreciation. We shut down everything, and there was just a lot that we didn't know. And I mean, we are a response-driven organization, and we're out and about.
You know, our department was very fortunate that we had an administration on our side that was really quick to get us the PPE that we needed.
But to bring all of that in, not to allow people into the fire station, while we're not happy about it, we had to kind of look for some maybe out-of-the-box ways in order to try to still do some of that. We worked with the preschool program in particular, and we would do video readings. So we would take a book. Even I had my turn. I think I read Clifford the Firehouse Dog or what have you, and so I was able to read that in a video, even though we couldn't be there face to face, because we were sending firefighters into the classroom to read. We just had to do it in a virtual environment. But we've always prided ourselves on that family-like atmosphere. And just like within a family, everybody has a job or they have a role to do to kind of make the family function successfully. And the fire department is the same way.
So it's really just doing what you have to do and getting out the door and doing your job. So there might be slightly more danger, but that's what we're here for.
Well, I definitely want to thank and really express appreciation for the recognition of the fire department here in this award. I'm sure there was many other deserving groups. There's been so many different groups that have really stood up as frontline responders, first-line responders there during this pandemic. So we really appreciate the Red Cross recognizing the work that the men and the women of the CFD, or the Cincinnati Fire Department, have done during this last year. As fire chief, I'm honored to be able to accept in behalf of all the men and women, and we pray and hope that we can continue to continue with our efforts even as we get into the future, because we never know what the next thing that will be, but I can assure the community that we'll be ready and prepared for whatever that is. And so once again, just want to express our deepest thanks for this recognition and honor, and it's definitely one that I feel we are worthy of.
Not just the heroics, right? Those personal connections. This really means something to our community. Congratulations, Chief Winston, and to your team on your continuing heroic commitment to the safety of our community. We don't say it often enough, so let us say it now. Thank you. Before we meet our next honoree, I would like to thank our event sponsors. Our presenting sponsor, Cincinnati Bell. Our Frontline Hero sponsor, Luxfer Magtech. Our essential workers sponsors, Ernst & Young, Frost Brown Todd, INA Towing, Carey Automotive, Kroger Foundation, and Ohio National Financial Services. Our first responder sponsors, Cintas, Interact for Health, Patricia and Walter Smithson. And our Mask Up Tri-State sponsors, Fifth Third Bank and Metro. And the We're All in This Together sponsors are on your screen. Now on to our next Hero Award recipient. Covering the news every morning, I've learned that disasters big and small can happen at a moment's notice. There's not a day that goes by that we're not talking about a hurricane or a disaster somewhere in our country, or right here in our local neighborhoods, a fire putting people out of their homes. And the American Red Cross is always right there to help. Our next Hero Award recipient has made a lasting impact on many of our community's young citizens getting to and from school each day. As you can imagine, keeping our kids safe during a pandemic is no easy feat, presenting the challenges of new and changing protocols and new fears. We will hear from those on the front lines of student transportation. To introduce the story of how those important frontline workers adapted to the times and became frontline heroes is our essential workers sponsor, Carey Automotive.
Hi, I'm Tim Sparks, president of Carey Automotive. The individuals we're honoring today, even though they may not feel comfortable being called one, they truly fit the description of a hero. I'm excited to share their stories with you today. It is my honor to introduce to you Ken Jones, Michael Raines, and all the employees of First Student as our Transportation Essential Functions honorees.
Oh, mercy. What is it about the job? I love those kids. I love First Student. I mean, I really do. I love my job as a bus driver, not only because of kids, but enjoy working in the public, you know, and the parents and the teachers. It's been good.
We provide yellow bus transportation for school districts. And one of our larger customers is Cincinnati Public Schools. And we provide a large share of transportation for their students. I tell my entire staff that you don't know if we're transporting the next president, if we're transporting the next great invention, if you're transporting a cure for cancer. Those are the great and exciting things about transporting students and being a part of their lives.
You become family, you become friends. I mean, every morning they get on the bus, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And they'll tell you if you'll give them time, you know, if you show them attention. And I think a lot of times folks don't, but I always ask, how's your day, or what's going on, or how's sports going?
Safety is a part of the First Student culture. It's a personal value of mine. We are twice as safe as our nearest competitor, and we do everything with safety in mind.
One thing with First Student, they do a tremendous job in cleaning the buses and sanitizing the buses. But on top of that, after every drop off at school, I'll spray Lysol and clean the bus and wipe down the bus, and so we've tried to be real safe, and it's worked.
Our job is very fulfilling. There's a great sense of fulfillment when it comes to being in the lives of young people.
I would say this, once again, I don't feel like no hero, or I don't feel like no special person. It's just all of us together, working together, and that's kind of the way First Student is. I really feel that way. I mean, Brother Ken Jones, he treats us like family, and he encourages us, you know, to work together. And if we work together, we can do anything. So that's kind of the way I feel, you know.
I'd like to thank the Red Cross for this honor. It is certainly not one put upon me alone. I'm grateful to my organization, First Student, and to my entire team. We all share in this honor, and we're humbled by the recognition.
That's just the type of people you want taking care of your children, right? Congratulations, Ken and Michael. Such a wonderful story. One of the services offered by the American Red Cross is life-saving training. Even during this pandemic, the Red Cross continues to offer CPR certification and first aid courses. CPR classes have adapted to pandemic life, of course. Classes are offered with temperatures taken, masks, and social distancing. Red Crossers continue to respond to disasters following strict COVID protocols, and they even respond virtually. I hope you will consider supporting this life-saving work of the American Red Cross. To the left of your screen, you will see donation options. Those options will be available throughout the remainder of the program. Now, if you're viewing from a mobile device, you will need to exit the full screen and scroll below the video window to make your donation. You can also text Frontline Heroes, all one word, Frontline Heroes to 76278. Or use your smart device camera with the QR code at the bottom of your screen. Our next Frontline Hero story comes from the classroom, or should I say from the teacher's dining room table to the students' kitchen tables. Teachers faced enormous challenges requiring new lesson plans and new communication strategies. As Education Frontline Heroes, we honor the West Claremont School District and recognize Shannon Pence, an intervention specialist teaching high school students with special needs.
My mom's a teacher. She teaches kindergarten. I grew up with my entire family being teachers, and so I thought I was going to be a teacher my entire life. And then I was given the opportunity for an interview at a high school. And I walked in and I said, I just want you to know I am not a high school teacher at all. All of my experience has been elementary. And the supervisor at the time said, I think I see something in you. And I have been with high school ever since, and I love every second of it. The way that we would do things normally would be each one of us would just take a core subject and we would teach whatever our subject is all day. Once COVID hit, we all kind of got together and we said, how can we make things a little bit easier for each other? There are 4 of us that work in the units together, and so we all kind of decided that we would take a core and we would all just plan that one and make it a little bit easier. I have my same group of 8. We are in the room all day long and we don't leave. We lunch together, we have our electives together. We are getting to know each other very well this year. Learning technology is very difficult, and especially with kids who have disabilities and they need extra help. I'm used to walking around my classroom all the time. I'm used to being in close contact, and I never really realized how closely I was working with them until this year, and I was like, okay, I need to protect myself, I need to protect my family, I need to protect these kids, so I need to step back a little bit. It's really hard, but I know that I have to protect my family, and I know that I have to protect this new baby, and I also am thinking about those students. We're doing a lot that you just can't see behind the backgrounds, and we're there for you. We're there to support you, and we know that we're asking a lot, but there's a lot being asked of us as well, and we're just doing the best that we can for your students, and your students aren't going to be falling behind because we're all in this together. Thank you to the American Red Cross for the award. Thank you to my coworkers for all of their countless hours of work and making this year go as smoothly as possible. Thank you to all of my parents and all of my students who are making this tough year a much more enjoyable one.
Boy, teachers are some of the most important people in our kids' lives. Really grateful for teachers like her. Just over a year ago, the people of Ohio were ordered to stay at home to slow the spread of COVID-19. But for those working in healthcare, it was a call to action. When our community was told to stay home for their own health and safety, healthcare workers had to go to work to keep all of us safe. As you will learn today, they are performing essential roles while enduring stressful times at work and at home. Doing their jobs, taking care of patients, staff, and facilities is truly heroic. We have 2 honorees in healthcare, and each will be introduced by our essential worker sponsors, INA Towing and Frost Brown Todd. Before we hear the healthcare stories, we have a special guest. Cincinnati Health Commissioner Melba Moore will share her perspective on public health and the role her team plays in supporting our community, especially during a pandemic. Welcome, Dr. Moore.
Public health is invisible sometimes, but very present in ensuring the safety and the well-being of the people that we work with. A health commissioner for any city is responsible for protecting the public's health. We work in partnership with others in our community to ensure that we are protecting the public's health. Another key component of public health and what the health commissioner does, we look at the data, the numbers, how many people, where are the people? It gets rough, it does. You know, it was tough to hear about and to read and to have to report the deaths from COVID. But the joy is you're sitting at a table. Well, you're on a Zoom meeting, and it's the simple things in life right now. You're on a Zoom meeting and you see people you haven't even seen in a very long time. And that helps get you through those days when you're weary. So let me tell you about my team. When it comes to testing, you can't beat them. When I think about vaccinations and what we have done, my nursing director and that whole entire clinical team, they make it look so easy. I can give you example after example of how we help people. And that's the true joy in being in public health, that you do see a return. Maybe not as quickly, but in this pandemic, we've seen a return on our investment in the community. And that means working with our community partners as well. And whatever the next emerging event may be, it will be public health that will rise to assist the community in getting back to some semblance of normalcy.
I'm Amy Nolan, Head of Marketing at INA Towing, and this is Wilbur. He's the mayor of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. INA Towing is proud to honor two frontline heroes of Maple Knolls community, Carla Alfrey and Aaron Steckman, as our healthcare honorees.
Before COVID, my day-to-day, what I actually did was similar to what I'm doing now, but just at a level of 2 out of 10 instead of like 12 out of 10. So an infection preventionist does a variety of things around the building. We track the infections, we do staff education to help with prevention. I'm a nursing person, I'm in the hierarchy, but I'm not a department head. I don't oversee everybody. I don't make those big decisions in general. When January came around in 2020 and we started to see cases in the US, I realized we're gonna have to do something immediately. Like, we're gonna have to start making plans. We're gonna have to shut down the building possibly.
When our residents lost the ability to be with their families, we had to step up around Halloween time this past year. It was about 6 months in. I thought of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and so I had a budget to work with, and that wasn't near enough what my imagination was telling me that I needed to do. So I spent a lot of my own money, and all the staff on the assisted living helped build things with paper mache, and it was the first time that when people came out of their rooms to actually see it, it was a long time since you'd seen a smile or a laugh.
I recall talking to my boss's boss, our executive director, and he said, you know, I feel the same way sometimes, but I'm not going to let this beat us. And as soon as he said that, it set off a light bulb in my head, like, yeah, I'm up to this challenge. A lot of our residents really took it in stride. I mean, they watch the news, they know what dangers are out there, and they've helped us a lot as well.
You know, I have Aaron, I have the director of nursing, my PCAs, all the nursing assistants, all the other nurses, the maintenance, the housekeepers, activities, we all were a part of this. And I couldn't do my job without them.
I've always said that the best way to lead is by example. When we were doing our early testing of residents, when we were testing based on symptomatic residents, I did not want any of my staff doing that but me. You know, I wanted them to see that I was willing to take that risk, that, you know, and that I was there for them. I mean, we're a huge family there at Maple Knoll Communities, and they knew what we were doing was to protect them. It was hard to shut down visitation, and we discussed often in our meetings how we would allow communication with our families through Skype and other virtual means.
There was a resident that I had that was sick, and he was dying, and then his family wasn't allowed to come in. I've seen a lot of death in the last 28 years, but I've never seen a family not be able to be there to say what they wanted to say at the last moments. They trusted me to be there at the end and make sure that, you know, everybody got that moment with him. So that is a moment that I'll never forget.
On behalf of Maple Knoll Communities, I just want to thank the American Red Cross for this honor. It's nice to be appreciated. And I want to thank everybody on our team at Maple Knoll Communities for their support. And to be recognized this way really means a lot to all of us. So thank you.
For those on the front lines who have cared for our loved ones during their time of need, no words can express our amount of gratitude. On behalf of Frost Brown Todd, I have the special privilege of introducing our healthcare honoree, Maria Friday of UC Health, whose story, strength, and service inspire us.
I've always been a problem solver, so I like to solve the problems. And I've always been that person where anyone can rely on whenever there's an emergency. I'm always that person that they call in an emergency. Emergency management is all about making sure that our organization or our hospital has plans in place for when, not if, a disaster will happen. So we make sure that we do training and education with our staff and build these plans, and then most importantly test the plans so that we're ready for any emergency. I participate in a lot of leadership to make sure that they're comfortable in an emergency. We need to make sure we build relationships, and most importantly, not just inside our hospital, we have to build relationships outside, so within the community as well, so that if a disaster happens, we know those people on a first name basis so we can call them up. And so I really got to see how that problem solving could be put to use for good, for the community and for the patients and families that we take care of. When the shutdown happened, we still had to come to work every day. There were still people sick, whether it was COVID or not. People were still having heart attacks and still needed to make sure that they had emergency care. I think we really had to come together and become a team and trust each other to know that we are doing the right thing. We are putting our patients and families first. This is for our community to make sure that we can stay safe. As a only level 1 trauma center, that's huge for emergency planning, right? So we know that any mass casualty we have, they're gonna come to us. So we knew that we had to show up, and we were there every day. A colleague of mine talks about the reset button. So knowing that we all are gonna have our frustrations, we're all gonna have our bad days, but knowing that we can reset and show up the next day, willing to work harder and solve those problems together, and knowing that everyone is going to show up together, I think that's really what gets you through, is knowing that they have your back. Thank you to the American Red Cross for this award. I am very humbled and proud to be accepting it. On behalf of my entire UC Health family, I couldn't have done it without you. Thanks.
Those are some really special people, just hearing them talking about the last moments of that gentleman's life and the hard work they had to do during such a challenging time really means a lot. And we are blessed to have so many remarkable individuals who have stepped out to keep us safe, cared for our loved ones, and supported us during these difficult times. We cannot thank you all enough. Today, we have a goal of raising $10,000 to support the American Red Cross right here in our tri-state community. The dollars raised will go to critical resources to support our local tri-state residents displaced by a home fire, or a community member needing ongoing mental health services, or a local military family needing to make emergency contact with their loved ones deployed with help from our services to the armed forces. Your donations will go to help individuals faced with unimaginable loss. Once again, if you would like to contribute, look to the left of your screen and you will see donation options, and you'll be able to make your gift while viewing the remainder of the program. We've seen some wonderful stories today, and I'm excited for you to meet the next Frontline heroes. Heroes can be those prepared and ready to take on a situation, perhaps as part of their job, or they can be those who simply feel compelled to make a difference. This next award recipient, Jennifer Tudor, is a cashier at Kroger in Miami Township. She has not only gone to work each day as an essential worker, but she took it upon herself to support her customers and encourage their generosity toward others. Jennifer was not available for a video, but 2 of her Kroger colleagues are eager to tell us about our food services hero.
She's high energy, she's optimistic. Jen is very much a people person. She is my first in cashier most days. And Jen has grown up in the Loveland area, so I think she has a very much a love for that area and our customers.
So Jen is one of our great front-end associates. She helps check out our customers, helps them make sure they get all their coupons and all that great stuff. The thing that I love most when I'm working with Jen is that she helps with our roundup program, like all of our front-end associates. She can ask associates and customers who are coming through the line to round up their order to the next dollar, and all of that money goes straight to our Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation. The industry absolutely changed for COVID. We always knew that our folks in the stores were essential workers, and it was great to see everybody else seeing that with them too. They really got inundated and crushed about a year ago in March when everyone was just starting that work from home, live from home space. And being in the store, it could be scary for someone who doesn't know what's going on, and we had such little information at that time. But Jen and all of her great associate partners were just right there for the community, and we really appreciate everything that they did to make sure everyone had their food that they needed.
She hasn't slowed down at all. I think that when it comes to Roundup and Zero Hunger, Zero Waste, it's something that's near and dear to her heart, and the pandemic was not going to change that.
So Jen was our top earner for Roundup for 2020, which, everyone had a really tough year, whether you were maybe laid off or had hours cut. But Jen by herself raised $10,000 for the foundation. So the money that Jen raised, along with our other associates at the front end, goes straight to feeding folks. We did a special grant-making process during COVID-19 for food banks and other organizations that were feeding folks. So the money that Jen was raising in the store was going straight back out to her community, helping people in need, and to be able to raise that amount of money in a year when everyone was so strapped for cash was really impressive.
I have customers, sometimes I will be helping on the front end, trying to even out our lanes so that we maintain our queuing standards, and I will have customers that say, I'm fine right here. I'm waiting for Jen. And that's a great problem to have, anytime, somebody wants to wait a few extra minutes because they get such great service from that one individual, I'll take it. On behalf of Jen Tudor, I'm Jerome Parham, the store manager at Kroger. I want to thank Jen and the efforts that she's made in Zero Hunger, Zero Waste. I want to thank all of the other honorees. And most importantly, I want to thank the American Red Cross for having us and honoring Jen.
Congratulations to Jennifer and her incredible will to make a difference. And thanks to Kroger for supporting Jennifer and their entire team by nurturing a culture of caring and also taking such good care of us when we go to the store. I'd like to take a moment to recognize another group of folks essential to this event and the local Red Cross, the Cincinnati Tri-State Board. Thank you to each board member for your dedication and passion for this organization and for bringing our audiences together today. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now, before we watch our final hero recipient story, let's take one last look at those donations. I want to thank Rachel and Stephanie and James, Catherine, Matthew, Michael, Anna, Gregory. Look at all of those people who are helping the American Red Cross today. Isn't that great? It's so important. We're trying to raise $10,000, and right now we're up to $4,327. So we still have a little bit of a ways to go. So be sure and let your friends and family know what we're doing today. Chad, Dustin, Joshua, Renee, thank you so much for your donations. Let's keep on giving. Again, to make a contribution, look to the left of your screen and you will see donation options, or you can text. It's easy. Just text a donation to Frontline Heroes, all one word, Frontline Heroes, to 76278. For our final honoree today, we're recognizing an individual making a community impact. This frontline hero demonstrates what it means to step up when duty calls. She's from the Red Cross Northern Kentucky, Southwest Indiana Disaster Action Team. To introduce her is essential workers sponsor Luxfer Magtech.
My name is Tim Zimmerman, and I'm Vice President and General Manager of Luxfer Magtech. It is my pleasure today to introduce Diana Morgan, this year's Red Cross Volunteer Honoree. Diana Morgan holds many roles within the Red Cross organization. She serves as the Disaster Action Team Leader for Northern Kentucky and Southeast Indiana. She also helps manage the DAT team that covers 4 counties in Kentucky and 2 in Indiana. Diana also serves as the Disaster Action Team Duty Officer and takes calls from fire departments and clients calling in to report someone has experienced a disaster. She dispatches teams to the scene and monitors calls, and she always takes the critical overnight shift. Diana played a crucial role in serving as the liaison to the fire departments in Grant County recently. She helped coordinate installations of smoke detectors within the Red Cross Sound the Alarm program in her community. She is a prime example of carrying out the Red Cross mission. Congratulations, Diana.
I love volunteering. I love to be able to help people. I am also a EMS firefighter in Dry Ridge, and so I just love being able to get out there and help people. I am Grant County's team leader for disasters, and I particularly work the midnight shifts, Monday through Friday. You are to be the one that makes sure that you know the programs we're using, the policies we need to go by, how we respond to things, and then you be the mentor for these volunteers as they can come up and soon to take over other positions. We had almost 100 homes listed that we were ready to get out and go install detectors to, and we got about half of them done when COVID hit. But then we continue to have calls. When are you going to be able to do this again? You know, and we're getting calls now, and that program is getting ready to revamp. The only way we do in-person response right now is if it's a multi-family fire. So then that's kind of getting back to the role we all loved when we got to do the person-to-person contact with the people, because that's what being a Red Cross volunteer is. We're huggers, and we miss that. That's the hardest part, is not getting to be out there and help the people right in your town or community. You know, just like they say, cancer don't stop, disasters don't stop, so we don't stop. We always are in need of volunteers. There are so many different roles with the Red Cross that a volunteer can be involved in. It doesn't just have to be disaster. You know, there are so many different positions that need help with the Red Cross that I'm sure there's an interest for anybody out there who wants to be a volunteer. I was very shocked when I got the call that I was receiving this honor because there are so many people with more years of experience who do as much that I feel as what I do that are deserving, you know, of the same type recognition. Anybody out there right now is an essential volunteer. They all need frontline recognition. So I just want to thank the American Red Cross for the opportunity of getting to be a volunteer and serving as a duty officer on those midnight shifts, trusting me that I'm taking care of the clients and the disaster that they're involved in, and getting them the shelter, food, clothing, whatever it is they need at the time. There are many people I can thank that have mentored me along the way, and I hope to be able to continue to mentor the ones that I have underneath me now as volunteers, and I'm just proud to be an American Red Cross volunteer.
What an incredible mentor Diana must be, right? Congratulations to all of our frontline heroes. Thank you for allowing us to tell your stories. And I hope all of you will keep the recognition going by sharing what you've seen, heard, and felt with your friends and family. That's another way to support the Red Cross. I hope that you've been inspired to support our Red Cross, and I thank each of you who's already done so. Go to redcross.org to find ways you can get involved by volunteering, and you can get great advice on how to make sure your family is Red Cross ready and prepared to stay safe in an emergency. Early on in the program, when we heard from Stephanie, she talked about the importance of Red Cross blood drives and blood donation. And I personally would like to thank the Red Cross for those efforts, because my life was saved by blood donation when I had my son Eric almost 14 years ago. I lost 6 units of blood. So blood donation and those efforts saved my life. Thank you again to all of our sponsors for your commitment to the Red Cross. Remember, each of you is also an everyday hero for joining us during our program and for your support in giving today. Thank you so much for celebrating the Greater Cincinnati Tri-State Frontline Heroes with us. I've really enjoyed this today, and we look forward to seeing you at another special Red Cross event next year. I'm Sheila Gray. Thank you.